Hi there folks, welcome to this week's weekly forecast, Monday the 19th of July. Sweltering heat here in London. In the office at the moment we are looking at just under 30 degrees and it's only early morning on Monday. Okay, so what happened last week? Big risk on week last week. Stock markets across the globe in the US, S&P 500, the Dow and so forth hit all-time highs. This is risk on. There's fresh money flowing into the US stock markets. And this was basically helped by Fed Chair Powell, who's basically in control of interest rates and the economy out there in the US. He basically said that there's no chance of any tapering, any easing back of stimulus anytime soon. Basically means cheap money is going to be around and here to stay for a while longer. That basically is liked by the stock market. That's why the stock markets pushed on. And indeed, the US dollar pushed on as well. The US dollar was benefiting from the risk on sentiment, and the US dollar basically put on about 0.75%, despite the fact that the bond yields actually traded lower in the week. So the dollar is strong, stock markets are strong. Also seeing this week, well, let me show you exactly what we're seeing this week. This is the momentum meter. This tells me exactly what is going on in the markets at the moment. So this green line here, that is the greenback, that is the US dollar, showing some strength in there at the moment. But equally, we're seeing some strength in the Japanese yen. Now, no, the Japanese yen, that's a safe haven funding currency. Normally, when the stock markets get bought, then normally the yen gets sold on the markets. That's not happening at the moment. The yen is actually now showing some strength. This could be an early warning sign that the stock markets may be in for a troublesome week. We'll have to wait and see. But this momentum meter, I use it all the time. I don't often see it look like this. This shows me the strength and weakness. And look here. The Canadian dollar, red across all time frames, and all the blue is basically in the other currencies. So that's just showing you at the moment that the Canadian dollar, this purple line down here, this is really heavily sold off at the moment. The CAD yen is being a great trade for us, great trade for me anyway, and it's trading lower as we speak at the moment. So big pressure in the Canadian dollar, and that's despite the fact that they are easing back on their bond buying, and they were the first ones to lead that case a few months ago. But the Canadian dollar is under pressure at the moment. Not sure how long that will continue on for. Oil prices are reasonably well bid at the moment. There's no big shock horrors in there at the moment. And the commodity currencies, you've got the New Zealand dollar showing some strength. In New Zealand, the Kiwi, you had the RBNZ last week basically saying that they are basically more hawkish about the economy, and maybe rates might have to start moving sooner rather than later there. Australian dollar's under a bit of pressure. We had some weak job numbers out of Australia last week, indicating that maybe the economy is going to be a bit longer before it starts picking up, all to do with obviously the COVID lockdowns and so forth. So the Aussie is under pressure at the moment, and the British pound also under pressure at the moment. Although the MPC member last week, Saunders, he was basically indicating that maybe rates might have to start moving sooner rather than later in the UK. They actually brought the target in by a couple of months. But the pound is not really enjoying it. The pound is under pressure at the moment. So maybe selling some of these currency pairs, these weaker ones here, against the stronger Japanese yen, or indeed the US dollar, may be the way to play it. Let's have a look at this week then. We're looking at the euro short against the US dollar. We've got a target level there of around the 117 magnet. It looks as though the markets want to pull into that. You see this ascending channel. We've broken through that now to the downside, and maybe now the path of least resistance is to the downside. We'll be looking for opportunities to enter there. Remember, these are not trade signals. These are biases, and you have to apply your own strategy to these in order for your entries and exits. These are just our biases, which of course can change if markets change. And the CAD against the Swiss as a short trade, just showing you there on the momentum meter. The CAD is under real pressure at the moment, and the safe haven currencies, the yen, the Swiss, they are showing some bid. They're showing some signs of money flowing into those currencies, maybe as the stock markets come under a little bit of pressure at these highs. So we're looking at a short CAD against the Swiss into the 71.40 zone. You see big trend to the downside now, broken through some structural support as well. Okay, so short pound against the yen for myself, short pound against the Japanese yen. Again, it is basically the low yielding currencies, the yen, the Swiss, they are getting bid at the moment. Pound is under pressure. I'm looking at that with a target level into the next support zone around the 149.50 level. Go and check it out on the charts and see if you can see some entries in there for yourself. Max is looking at a short trade in the Dow 30, top 30 companies out, and he's looking there for the Dow moving back down to 33,250, where you have the next supply and demand zone. Right, let's have a jump onto the screens now. We'll look at the economic calendar and see what this week has in store. Come on. Okay, so this is our economic calendar. You can access this by going to the forexsignals.com site. Scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the Forex economic calendar. Really important, I think, that you have one of these to hand when you are trading the markets, so you don't get caught out by some unexpected event, but also there are some opportunities to be had, as well as some of these economic releases do indeed move the markets. So let's have a quick look then to see what's out this week. I always like to look for the next 7 days in advance. I normally do my planning on a Sunday evening ahead of the opening, and there's not a great deal out this week. Bit of retail sales later on the week. We'll just have a little scroll through. Anything on the right here that's got a red banner, that basically means it's high impact news, means it's likely to have a bigger impact on the markets. And if in doubt about any of the economic indicators, you just click on the actual economic indicator and it will highlight to you exactly what it is all about. So later on in the week, on the 22nd, we've got Broadbent, he's speaking, so we pay attention to him, MPC leader, and of course he will be giving clues, certainly on the back of what Saunders was saying last week. Will be all attention on to what he has got to say if you're trading in the British pound. Okay, so we've got the ECB. That's a big event really this week. ECB stands for the European Central Bank. It's basically where the central bank decide on interest rates. Now, it's unlikely that they will be moving interest rates this time out, but as always with these bank statements or bank policy meetings, the follow-on statement is more important, so we'll be watching into that to see if we can get any clues to what the ECB are thinking down the line. They call it forward guidance, don't they? So we'll be seeing. They have been reasonably dovish more recently. We'll see if this dovish tone continues, which could indeed put pressure on the euro currency, if that does happen. And later on in the week, we've got UK retail sales, a very important set of releases, retail sales. They've only got it down here as a medium impact, but maybe it should be more than that. Basically gives us early signs on what's happening to the economy. Are people out spending money? You know, and if people are out spending money, that means retail sales go up. It also means that there is inflationary pressure on prices. If everyone's buying and spending, then retailers can put their prices up and so forth. So it's an early warning of inflation. Certainly after what Saunders was saying last week about the the economy, and now the markets are expecting a rate rise 2 months earlier than before. Retail sales could be an important one to pay attention to. Then we've got some PMI data out, also out of the Eurozone. PMI data stands for Purchasing Managers Index, very important set of releases. It's a forward-looking indicator, basically a survey of all the business leaders, basically saying, are they confident about the economy? Are they employing more staff? Are they investing more in plant and so forth? So I know central bankers love a good PMI data, so that's very important. We've got some PMI data out in the US as well later on in the week, so do scroll through this in your own time and see what is about. And finally, we've got the Canada retail sales. Bearing in mind what's been happening to the loonie over the last few trading days, this is going to be quite an important release. Is the economy slowing, or are people out there spending money? So we'll keep an eye on the retail sales. If this number is a big miss to the downside, then you really could see the Canadian dollar, the loonie, trade a lot lower. So quite a light week in terms of economic releases, but still it's important that you know what is about. As I say, head over to the site here at forexsignals.com and have a look at the economic indicator for yourself. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. Now, as you know, we are streaming live around the clock inside our trading community, up to 6 times a day, 5 days a week. Now, if you want to take part in that, you can do so. Just head over to the forexsignals.com site. There's a link in the description below. Then you can reach out to us, engage with us, and join our community of traders. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you don't already do so. And of course, if you hit that notification, that bell notification, that way you'll be notified when I release the next video, which is now up to 2 times a week as well. So lots of content being dished out here on the channel. Okay, if that's not your thing, that's not a problem. I will see you next week. Have a good week.